And we're going to finish up the very little that is left of the 5th chapter of When Hitler Stole the Pink Rabbit. Anna has had a terrible fever for over a month, and it is now gone from winter to spring in Zurich. Suddenly, Anna remembered something. Hype had been going to join them 2 weeks after they left Germany. Now it must be more than a month. Why hadn't she come? She was going to ask Mama, but Max came in first. "Max," said Anna, "why hasn't Hempe come?" Max looked taken aback. "Do you want to go back to bed?" he said. "No," said Anna. "Well," said Max, "I don't know if I'm meant to tell you, but quite a lot happened while you were ill." "What?" said Anna. "You know Hitler won the elections," said Max. "Well, he very quickly took over the whole government, and it's just as Papa said it would be. Nobody's allowed to say a word against him. If they do, they are thrown in jail." "Did Hype say anything against Hitler?" asked Anna, with a vision of Hype in a dungeon. "No, of course not," said Max. "But Papa did, he still does, and so of course no one in Germany is allowed to print anything he writes, so he can't earn any money, and we can't afford to pay Hype any wages." "I see," said Anna, and after a moment she added, "Are we poor, then?" "I think we are a bit," said Max, "only Papa is going to try to write for some Swiss papers instead. Then we'll be all right again." He got up as though to go, and Anna said quickly, "I wouldn't have thought Hype would mind about money if we had a little house. I think she would want to come and look after us anyway. Even if we couldn't pay her much, well, that's another thing," said Max. He hesitated before he added, "We can't get a house because we haven't any furniture." "But," said Anna. "The Nazis have pinched the lot," said Max. "It's called confiscation of property. Papa had a letter last week," he grinned. "It's been rather like one of those awful plays where people keep rushing in with bad news, and on top of it all, you were just about to kick the bucket." "I wasn't going to kick the bucket," said Anna indignantly. "Well, I knew you weren't, of course," said Max, "but that Swiss doctor has a very gloomy imagination. Do you want to go back to bed now?" "I think I do," said Anna. She was feeling rather weak, and Max helped her across the room. When she was safely back in bed, she said, "Max, this confiscation of property, whatever it's called, did the Nazis take everything, even our things?" Max nodded. Anna tried to imagine it. The piano was gone, the dining room curtains with the flowers, her bed, all her toys, which included her stuffed pink rabbit. For a moment she felt terribly sad about Pink Rabbit. It had been embroidered. It had embroidered black eyes. The original glass ones had fallen out years before, and an enduring habit of collapsing on its paws. Its fur, though no longer very pink, had been soft and familiar. How could she ever have chosen to pack the characterless woolly dog in its stead? It had been a terrible mistake, and now she would never be able to put it right. "I always knew we should have brought the game's compendium," said Max. "Hitler's probably playing snakes and ladders with it this very minute." "And snuggling my Pink Rabbit," said Anna, and laughed. But some tears had come through her eyes and were running down her cheeks at the same time. "Oh, well, we're lucky to be here at all," said Max. "What do you mean?" asked Anna. Max looked carefully past her out the window. "Papa heard from Hype," he said, with elaborate casualness. "The Nazis came for all our passports the morning after the elections." And that's the end of chapter 5.